57 years ago, scientists drilled into the ocean floor and something went catastrophically wrong. Project Mohole, the most ambitious drilling operation in human history, was supposed to pierce through Earth's crust and reach the molten mantle below. Instead, it unleashed a chain of events that NASA is still monitoring today. What they found down there changed everything we thought we knew about our planet. And the nightmare they predicted, it's only just beginning. In 1961, off the coast of Guadalupe Island, Mexico, the drilling vessel Crust-1 achieved something that should have been impossible. They bored 601 feet, that's 183 meters, through solid oceanic bedrock in water 11,700 feet deep, over 3,500 meters beneath the Pacific surface. No human being had ever drilled that deep into the ocean floor before. But this wasn't some oil exploration mission. This was Project Mohole, an unprecedented scientific assault on the Earth itself. The goal was terrifying in its simplicity. Drill 5 miles, 8 kilometers, straight through the planet's crust to reach the Mohorovičić discontinuity, the mysterious boundary where solid rock meets the molten mantle. The man behind this madness was geophysicist Walter Munk, who called it a moonshot for geophysics. Therefore, when the American Miscellaneous Society, a group of scientists known for their unconventional ideas, took up his challenge, they had no idea they were about to unleash forces beyond their control. The drilling began with mechanical precision. Each foot penetrated was a victory against the unknown. But the ocean fought back with every wave, every rotation of the drill bit. The project reports from 1961 contain an ominous warning. The ocean fights back with every wave. They had no idea how prophetic those words would become, because what started as scientific curiosity became something else entirely. A race against time, mounting costs, and the growing realization that they were tampering with forces that could reshape our understanding of planetary geology forever. Here's what makes Project Mohole so terrifying. They were essentially performing surgery on a living planet. The Mohorovičić discontinuity isn't just some geological curiosity. It's the barrier between Earth's solid outer shell and the molten hellscape beneath. Think about the physics involved. The oceanic crust averages only 5 to 10 kilometers thick. That's 3 to 6 miles of solid basaltic rock. Below that lies the mantle, where temperatures reach 1,000 degrees Celsius. That's 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit. And pressures exceed 100,000 pounds per square inch. But here's the truly mind-bending part. They chose oceanic drilling because the oceanic crust is thinner than continental crust, which can be 30 to 50 kilometers deep. That's 18 to 31 miles of solid rock. Therefore, drilling through the ocean floor seemed like the path of least resistance. The technology they developed was revolutionary and dangerous. Dynamic positioning systems to keep the drill ship stable in 12,000-foot deep water. Drill strings capable of boring through rock harder than concrete while suspended from a vessel fighting ocean currents and storms. Project engineer Willard Bascom described it perfectly. Drilling in 12,000 feet of water was like trying to thread a needle in a hurricane. But they pressed on, driven by an obsession that bordered on reckless. The deeper they went, the more they realized they were entering uncharted territory. The pressures, the temperatures, the unknown composition of rock layers that hadn't seen sunlight for millions of years. Each sample brought back contained secrets that challenged everything geologists thought they knew about plate tectonics. Stay with me, because what they discovered in those samples would eventually force NASA to completely recalculate their understanding of planetary formation, and the implications reach far beyond Earth. The scientists aboard Crust-1 had no idea they were risking their lives for a theory that most of the geological community didn't even accept yet. Plate tectonics was still controversial in 1961. Harry Hess, one of the project's key supporters, admitted, We were drilling blind, but with purpose. Walter Munk himself later reflected with haunting clarity. We thought if we could drill to the Mohole, we'd unlock the secrets of the Earth's interior. It was a crazy idea, but sometimes crazy works. But crazy can also kill. The crew faced dangers that landlubbers couldn't even imagine. The drilling rig nearly lost stability in rough seas, a mechanical failure that could have sent the entire operation and everyone on it straight to the ocean floor. The project reports note this near disaster with chilling understatement. The drilling rig nearly lost stability in rough seas. These weren't just scientists and engineers. They were pioneers venturing into the most hostile environment on Earth. The psychological pressure was immense. Every day they descended deeper into the unknown, not knowing if the next drill bit rotation would trigger something catastrophic. One unnamed member of the American Miscellaneous Society captured the existential terror perfectly. It started as a joke over drinks. Drill to the mantle. Then someone said, "Why not?" And we were off. That casual decision put human lives on the line for an experiment that could fundamentally alter our planet's stability. Author John Steinbeck, who observed the operation, understood the stakes better than anyone. Mohole is man's attempt to pierce the skin of his own planet. It's both noble and terrifying. The warnings came from everywhere, but the scientists pressed on anyway. Congressional critics weren't just concerned about money. They were terrified of the unknown consequences. One unnamed critic declared in 1966, "This Mohole project is a bottomless pit for taxpayer money. We can't afford dreams during wartime." But the real warnings came from within the scientific community itself. Geologist Harry Hess, despite supporting the project, admitted the terrifying reality. Mohole was about proving plate tectonics before we even had the full theory. We were drilling blind, but with purpose. Modern experts understand what the original team couldn't. They were tampering with forces beyond human comprehension. Dr. Susan Humphreys from the International Ocean Discovery Program reflects, "Mohole failed, but it taught us how to drill the ocean floor. Every core sample we take today owes something to that crazy idea." Historian of science Naomi Oreskes identified the real danger. Mohole was a victim of politics as much as technology. It showed how science and government don't always mix. But the implications go deeper than political failure. The project documentation itself contains the most chilling warning of all. Each foot we drill is a victory over the unknown, but the ocean fights back with every wave. They knew they were in a battle they might not win. Here's where Project Mohole transforms from ambitious science experiment into existential nightmare. The costs spiraled completely out of control, but not for the reasons you'd expect. The original budget projections proved catastrophically wrong because they underestimated the Earth's resistance to their intrusion. What started as a $50 million project, equivalent to roughly $550 million in today's money, was projected to exceed $100 million by completion. But the financial hemorrhaging was just a symptom of a deeper problem. The deeper they drilled, the more the Earth fought back. Equipment failures multiplied. Drill bits shattered against rock formations that weren't supposed to exist. Ocean currents behaved in ways that defied their models. Therefore, each day brought new technical challenges that pushed their technology beyond its breaking point. The escalation pattern was relentless. Initial success bred overconfidence, which led to deeper drilling, which revealed unexpected geological structures, which required new equipment, which pushed costs higher, which attracted political opposition, which ultimately killed the project. But here's the truly terrifying part. They never found out what was waiting for them at the bottom. The drilling stopped at just 601 feet below the seafloor, barely scratching the surface of their 8-kilometer journey to the mantle. They abandoned the mission just when it was getting dangerous. The pattern continues today. Modern drilling projects face the same escalating challenges, the same technological limitations, the same unknown risks. Stay with me, because what happened to Project Mohole is happening again. And this time, the stakes are even higher. Project Mohole wasn't the first time humans tried to pierce the Earth's crust, and it wouldn't be the last. The Soviet Union launched their own assault on the planet with the Kola superdeep borehole, which began drilling in 1970 and reached 7.5 miles, 12.2 kilometers, into continental crust by 1989. But the Soviets discovered something terrifying. The deeper they went, the more unpredictable the Earth became. Temperatures reached 356 degrees Fahrenheit, 180 degrees Celsius, when they expected only 212 degrees Fahrenheit. The rock behaved like plastic. Strange acoustic phenomena emerged from the depths, sounds that some described as screaming. Therefore, both American and Soviet attempts to reach the mantle failed, but they revealed a disturbing pattern. The Earth actively resists deep intrusion, as if protecting secrets buried in its core. Right now, as you watch this, drilling operations around the world are pushing deeper into the Earth than ever before. The International Ocean Discovery Program has drilled over 1,000 sites worldwide, collecting data that Project Mohole's pioneers could only dream of obtaining. But here's what should keep you awake at night. Modern drilling technology is exponentially more powerful than what they had in 1961. We can drill deeper, faster, and with more precision than ever before. Therefore, we're closer than ever to actually reaching the mantle, and nobody knows what will happen when we get there. NASA maintains active monitoring of deep drilling projects because they understand something the public doesn't. Disturbing the mantle could have planetary consequences. The molten rock beneath our feet isn't just sitting there peacefully. It's under immense pressure, constantly moving, constantly seeking release. What if we drill too deep? What if we create a pathway for that pressure to escape? The implications stretch beyond geology into planetary stability itself. Modern geologists admit they still don't fully understand the forces they're probing. Dr. Susan Humphreys' warning echoes through the decades. Every core sample we take today owes something to that crazy idea. But are we repeating Mohole's mistakes on a global scale? The scenarios range from scientific breakthrough to planetary catastrophe. If modern drilling projects succeed in reaching the mantle, we could unlock secrets about Earth's formation, the origin of life, and the future of our planet. But we could also trigger consequences that make Project Mohole's failure look like a blessing. Consider this. The mantle contains pressures and temperatures that could turn any drilling breach into a permanent pathway. Between Earth's interior and surface, magma could follow that pathway upward, creating new volcanic activity in regions never before threatened by eruptions. Therefore, the next major deep drilling project could either revolutionize geology or fundamentally alter Earth's surface dynamics. The technology exists. The funding is available. The only question is whether we're brave enough or foolish enough to try again. Current drilling programs in the Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian Oceans are approaching depths that rival Project Mohole's ambitions. Each project brings us closer to that critical threshold, where scientific curiosity meets planetary risk. Walter Munk's final reflection haunts every modern drilling operation. We didn't reach the mantle, but we reached for it. That's what science is, reaching. But sometimes reaching too far can pull you into the abyss. Here's what makes Project Mohole's legacy so terrifying. They never solved the fundamental problem. They never figured out how to safely drill to the mantle. They just stopped. Therefore, all those technical challenges, all those unknown risks, all those unanswered questions remain suspended in time, waiting for the next generation of scientists to stumble into the same nightmare. The equipment they developed, the techniques they pioneered, the data they collected, it's all being used right now in drilling projects around the world. But the core mystery remains unsolved. What happens when humans finally breach the boundary between crust and mantle? Modern drilling operations have surpassed Project Mohole's depth in multiple locations, but always horizontally, never straight down through the crust. The vertical challenge, the direct assault on the Mohorovičić discontinuity, remains unconquered. NASA continues monitoring these projects because they understand the implications reach beyond Earth. If we can't safely drill to our own planet's mantle, how can we hope to understand the geology of Mars, Venus, or the moons of Jupiter and Saturn? But the real terror isn't what we don't know about other planets. It's what we still don't know about our own. Project Mohole ended 57 years ago, but the questions it raised remain unanswered. And somewhere, in laboratories and drilling platforms around the world, scientists are preparing to ask those questions again. The nightmare Walter Munk predicted hasn't ended, it's just beginning. Project Mohole was humanity's first attempt to pierce the Earth's skin, and we failed. But we're about to try again.
With technology that makes 1961 look primitive. Subscribe and hit the bell, because when they finally breach the mantle, you'll want to know what comes crawling out.